Okay, Maple Leaf Pro. The other part of this review. Now I'm gonna go through these matches, but I'm gonna be very specific. There's only like 3 matches I really liked. The other ones were not bad matches, but let's make this very clear. They could have been on easily a Dynamite show or a TNA show. But there was one match that would not be on the Dynamite or TNA show that we'll be talking about, and that's the Qatar Pro Wrestling's own title. Now, let's go to the first one. We got a 6-man tag. Raju, we got. How did I feel about Rahit Raju, Rocky Romero, Raja, Price, and the Jet Setters? Did I care about them? No. This was just a 6-man tag just thrown in the very beginning of the show, just like the 6-man tag on night 1. So I really didn't care that much. But Raja, who is currently the Challenge Grail champion of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, he now is going to go to Oceanic, I think in the next couple of months or next couple of weeks, and he'll be defending his title there. So am I interested in seeing how they're going to book in Oceanic Pro Wrestling? Yes, because the last time TNA went to Oceanic, it was Bush League crap. But I will say I am interested in seeing how they progressed themselves from what was a year or so when they had that it was in 2023 or 2022. I can't remember. I think it was 2023 last year they had Oceanic, and it was terrible. That was a terrible show. Bad camera work, bad audio, bad lighting. It was just crap. I'm sorry. When Impact did their work with them, it was trash. Oceanic need to up their game, and I hope this year they will. So if this Pro Wrestling Alliance, which is a take on the National Wrestling Alliance, works, hopefully we'll see something better from Oceanic. Now, the Qatar Pro Wrestling title, which we had Elva Verso. Elva Verso. I sound like I wanted to cough, and I did a little bit. Elva Verso from TNA Wrestling versus Classy Ali, who is currently the Qatar Pro Wrestling Champion. I'll say it was a good match. And I'm not going to say that it would be fine on a TNA show or a Dynamite show. I can't. Because I don't know what Qatar Pro Wrestling is like. So I can't say it would be good on either one of those shows. It depends on how Qatar Pro Wrestling does their work. And since I've never seen it, I have to leave it separate. So even if it would fit on a regular TV show, I just can't. Because I can't talk about what the other pro wrestling promotion is like. I just can't, and I won't. It was good for what it was. And now Reverso, who is supposedly originally a TNA wrestler representing TNA, is now the current Qatar Pro Wrestling Champion. I don't know. Okay, we got 4 women again. It was the last episode, because it's been several days since I last saw it. It was 6 women, I believe. Or was it 4 women? I think it was 6 women. But we had Lucky. We had Cameron, Harley Cameron. We had Yakashura, or Yakamshita. I think Shida, who originally was supposed to be in TNA, but hadn't seen her at all. And Kylie Ray. All the women except for Cameron are from Maple Leaf Pro. So we got a match from them. It was fun. It wasn't a bad match. And I got to say this. Harley Cameron has progressed very nicely as a pro wrestler. And it wasn't bad what she did. Could this appear on a Dynamite show? Yes. It's pretty much a Dynamite show. Or it's an Impact show. That's what you got from this match. All the women were not bad wrestlers. I'm not saying they were. But easily, it could fit on either one of those shows. It would be fine. But it would depend on how these women are going to be booked. I have no idea how all 3 of these women, Yakamura or Yakashida, Lucky, and Kylie Ray are going to be booked on Maple Leaf Pro. I just don't know. It's going to depend on how they're going to be doing their weekly shows. If it's going to be on Thriller, or will they be smart enough to put it on YouTube for people to be able to see it who can't get Thriller TV? Because remember, doesn't mean Thriller can always be gotten by everyone. It would be good if they just put it on YouTube for a while, then do Thriller, or better yet, put it on Thriller, and then maybe a few days to a week later, it's on YouTube. I think that would be the wisest thing to do, but that doesn't mean they'll do it. Now, the Scramble match. I didn't care about it. Yes, we had Jake something. We had Mike Rowe, who's supposed to be Crazy Mike. We had Stu Grayson, who's supposed to be from TNA, which I have not seen him yet. We got Jake something. We got Alex Zane, like it was on night one. And we had Trevor Lee. And he's part of Maple Leaf Pro as well, supposedly. All of them are good wrestlers. I'm not against any of them. It was not a bad match, but I didn't really care about the Scramble because it never said if there was something that's going to be done. The only one who had a shot was the Challenge Grail Championship, and that was Jake something. So not knowing if there's going to be another shot for the Challenge Grail Champion, I just don't know. Now, Mike Rowland, which is Crazy Mike, I think not Crazy Mike, but Psycho Mike, he won it, but what does this really mean? It's just a match. Now, this is the first of the 3 matches I did like. We got Speedball Mike Bailey versus El Fantasma. We've seen him for many years. AEW versus TNA. That's what we got. And we got a very, very good match from both of them. They knew each other well. They knew how to work with each other. At one point, I thought when the Ultimate Weapon was going to be used on El Fantasma, and he put his knees up at the same time as Bailey was bringing down his knees, I thought one of them might have actually gotten hurt. And they could have. One of them might have actually gotten hurt, but they still kept doing the match. Speedball won. It was a very good match for what it was. And the talk afterward with Speedball caring about Canadian wrestling is fine. Next match. Did not care that much about it. I'm sorry. Obendo Gunjar and Raj Dempsey versus QT Marshall and Bully Ray. I'm sorry. I'm not against any one of them, but there's no real general story behind it. It just isn't. I didn't see it for months, so there's nothing there for me to be caught up in it. Am I glad to see they're doing something with Obendo Gunjar? Hell yeah. Am I glad to see that the former Jinder Mahal is being cheered and is not a bad wrestler? Let's make this clear. I know just Alex doesn't like him. I know JD thinks he's garbage. I see people for who they are and how they're being booked and what you can do with them. Is he a bad wrestler? No. Is he a great wrestler? No. He's an average wrestler that's a pretty big guy who's average. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are many people who still get over and get relevancy by just being average. That's the truth. Do I care about him? No, but I do appreciate that he can wrestle. But the last show where he was with Bully Ray, he was just too gentle for me personally for that match. It was just too gentle in that tables match. And I didn't think he did a good enough of a job there. Here he did fine. He was a lot more physical. But he's still an average wrestler. And there's nothing wrong with that. In the end, the faces won, which was Raj Dempsey and Obendo Gunjar. So that's what we got. Am I glad to see them being winners? It's not a bad thing. They're both Canadian. It's fine. But the question for me is that when Maple Leaf Pro does weekly shows, how are they going to book these guys if they're staying on the roster? Now, here's the second match. The best match of the entire show. And I'm sorry, even though Speedball Mike Bailey did a great job with Kateska night 1, this match was very good. Gazelle Shaw versus Athena. Let's make this clear. I'm not saying that Gazelle Shaw is the greatest wrestler TNA has ever had as a woman. I'm not. She's a very good wrestler that has improved over the last 3 years. She's been with TNA. Is it 3 or 4 years? I think 3 years or 4 years. I think it's been 3 years. But I could be wrong. But she's improved over those 3 years. She's worked with some of the best wrestlers that TNA had to offer when it was still Impact. And she's improved dramatically. Now, is she one of the best wrestlers? No, but she's damn good. And she went up against Athena, the woman who should be on the main roster of AEW, doing work on AEW's Dynamite show and being important on their damn pay-per-views, and the only thing she is the forever champion of fucking ROH. I'd rather see her go to TNA. I want her to finish her contract. I wish it was this year. And she just goes to TNA for a while. Not to TKO WWE. I'm telling you right now, she will not make it on TKO WWE for one simple reason, that there are too many women there now. So many that are not being booked correctly. And she will end up like Naomi, being used to put over other people. I don't want that for Athena. Send her to TNA. If TNA is not stupid this time, because they passed her up multiple times, this time she leaves, she goes to TNA. And she runs that bitch into the ground for how well she can work. But here, this was the best match of the entire show. It was. Speedball Mike Bailey was third in line. But this is second. It was a long match. Yes, and I'm sure people will say, oh, it was just too long. Excuse me. But it doesn't make a difference. It was still done very well. They were both very dead even in how they worked. I'm just glad, and this is me, because of what happened on the last show with I always talk about the most important thing that you see in a wrestling match. It's not just a story. It's not just the wrestling. It's not just the psychology. It's also the ring attire of the pro wrestlers themselves. And when it came to Gazelle Shaw, she had a nipple slip. I'm sorry. She decided not to wear pasties over her nipples. It was a nipple slip. The rest of the match was fine for what she had. But still, it is for what it was. And I have no idea if she decided after that match happened, the next night she decided to wear something over her nipples so she would not be seen. But at least I can say this time around, her top didn't open up enough that you could see anything. Because it will become apparent. This is important to understand, guys. It's like a guy's dick popping out of his pants. It's the same thing, or his trunks. It's the same freaking thing. It will define that person going forward if they're being pushed. It has to show, do they have the mindset of making sure they wear good clothes that can't easily rip or can't easily open up and show their wares. This was the best match because it was well done constructively. It was well, not choreographed, but each of them did pretty well. Nearing the end, since it was a longer match than I think Athena usually does, or Gazelle Shaw for that matter, they started getting tired and were getting a little sloppy, which is understandable for men or women. Hell, in the last match, I'll say that second place, Kateska and Josh Alexander, they got tired, and a couple of their moves were sloppy. No better than Athena or Gazelle Shaw. It's the same thing. In the end, Gazelle lost, which I'm not surprised. There's no way that Athena's going to job at Gazelle Shaw, who's supposed to be part of Maple Leaf, supposedly, and would win their damn title unless she's going to start working AEW, which she's not. It was fine. I was glad to see it. Gazelle did a great job. She had nothing to be ashamed of. And Athena, she's still my girl. If I was going to watch OH, I'm being honest here. If I was going to watch OH again, there would only be one person I'd be watching OH for. It would be Athena. Because of how well she works and how well she does her character. Because as a forever champion, she has been a bitch. She got her minions. That I do remember and do know. If I was going to watch OH, it would only be for her match only and her storyline only. I'm being honest. Final match, Kateska versus Josh Alexander. AEW versus TNA. Something I was hoping would happen when TNA was working with AEW other than Kenny Omega. And a few people were brought over from AEW like Matt Hardy. And it was Christian Cage. That was it. Next to pretty much a Kenny Omega. That was it. We never saw it going the other way, other than when the Motor City Machine Gun showed up there maybe once. Moose showed up there on a pay-per-view. And I was told there was one other person who showed up. I cannot remember them, but it was only 3 people on random shows with no storylines, no build-up for both companies to help each other. Nothing. So now we get this match. Think of it like this. And for the one who always leaves me a sonnet, who really is so happy that Scott D'Amore is gone, which I've stated again. Scott D'Amore, I was never 100% fond of his booking. And when it came to production, it sucked. But there's no way, ever, you can say that 100% his booking was trash and that he did not convince those wrestlers like Moose, Jordan Grace, Kaz, or anyone else before he left to join Impact Wrestling. If you think he's that much trash, then you really do not understand how Impact Wrestling managed to turn back to TNA. It was not because Anthem wanted them back. TNA, Impact Wrestling, was shit until he took it over. He had to work hard trying to get it back. I'm not telling you he did a perfect job, because he did not. Look at my entire list of not list, I don't have no playlist, but look at my videos before he left. You know how I always talked about it. Either not all the time great booking and production was shit. But I never said the guy didn't do, at least most of the time, a okay job. Now you got Josh Alexander, who's signed by him, there. And understand this, guys. TNA is not working directly with AEW. It's not. Scott D'Amore had to convince Tony Khan and the current members of TNA to allow their wrestlers to go to Maple Leaf. No matter whatever happened with him and the CEO of Anthem, and it is the CEO of Anthem. If anybody didn't think it was the CEO of Anthem having some disagreement with Scott, you're fucking stupid. I'm sorry. There's no way Scott D'Amore could get Josh Alexander on his show. There is no way. None. If everyone in TNA, including the new president of TNA, thought that he was shit and would not let any of their talent go there because they're still under contract. So all the people you saw that is still part of TNA, they allowed it. And whatever the CEO and him had that disagreement that got him fired and him trying to buy TNA, didn't stop them from letting them do some work. So that shows that he made some very good credit in both companies. So what did we get? A very good match. Second best match of the night. Flat out, it was brutal. In the end, I did not expect Josh to win, of course. And after the Don Callis talk and little beatdown of Josh by Kateska and Don, Ricochet shows up to save him. And now we're going to have a continuation of what's going to go on Dynamite this Wednesday. Because this is being done Monday. I will be seeing whatever maybe AEW will say something maybe about Maple Leaf Pro. Hopefully they will at least spotlight it, because guess what? Again, when it comes to Scott, he made a lot of credit where a lot of people, including maybe Tony, will be willing to at least, guess what? Promote Maple Leaf Pro a little bit. I will tell you this. Was this a good night 2? Yes, it was actually better than night 1. The lighting was better. The audio was better. Seeing Scott's own mother smacking the shit out of a little bit of Bully Ray, it was fine. It was better production and 3 better matches than that were on night 1. Yes, many people had to do double work, but it was fine. I was all right with it. And like I said in night 1, I'm not expecting them to get everything down packed. If Scott's got new people for the camera, for the lighting, for the audio, for the graphics, unfortunately, one of the graphics that was shown in night 1 was MPL wrestling instead of MLP wrestling. That was a mess up. This is a new production, and I don't expect them to get it right in the beginning. But I will say this. If I can watch Maple Leaf Pro, depending on if Maple Leaf Pro will put this on YouTube, or if it's possible, maybe an alternative will put it on a site, because I don't think I can afford Thriller TV. I already got Fight. And now I know that Maple Leaf will probably be on Fight, but a lot of times I don't keep it on all the time. I actually shut it off after a couple of months because I can't pay for it. But there are ways you can still see it when you are still there, because like certain things you can do. That's not legal. But I'll see the situation. If I can watch Maple Leaf Pro weekly, I will. If it's going to be released somewhere else a week afterward, I'll watch it. But that's just me. Peace.